Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our newest second generation. Today we're going to be having a match against Mega Keldeo. He's pretty dedicated to second generation, so I decided to challenge him. And here we go. Now this match took place yesterday, and it was a 1 hour and 60-minute long match. That is crazy, because the ending part is going to be so fast forward that I believe I'm not going to commentary. There's going to be lots of same stuff happening at the end of the match, so we're just going to put some music. But we're gonna talk about that as the ending comes into play. At the moment, I'm gonna switch out to Skarmory against the Heracross, knowing that Houndoom's defensive bulk isn't on top of Heracross's, so Heracross is most likely gonna take my fire move, and he can easily take me out with Earthquake, or at least try taking me out. So I decided to switch out to Skarmory, go for the poison on the switch to Porygon, and that proved to be a wise decision because he did Earthquake the Skarmory back there. And I decided to switch out to Machamp as he decides to go for the curse. Now I'm gonna overpredict. He does realize I'm gonna overpredict. He knows how I tend to play at times. I play him 4 times or 5 times now. He still needs to get an upper hand, but we're gonna see how it's gonna turn out in this match. I'm gonna go for the cross chop this turn, and he's gonna outplay me like an open book. He's gonna open that book, and he's gonna memorize all the moves I'm gonna do. So right now I'm gonna need to change my cards if I'm gonna have any sort of chance. I know I tend to say this a lot, but in this match I start to have my doubts how I started to play. You're gonna see as the match is gonna take place later on. I'm gonna, just go to Raikou. Raikou is my greatest bet. He did switch out, cross chop Zapdos. So Raikou is a good switch to Zapdos, especially this one as it is a rest sleep talker. He's gonna go for the Thunder. He was banking for paralyzation, and he actually get it quite early. So yeah, that actually happened for him. I'm just gonna go for rest because I'm really not the luckiest person when it comes down to paralyzation. So I didn't want to risk anything. Plus I know Raikou is an important member of my team at the moment. So I'm gonna switch out to Skarmory. He's gonna switch out to Houndoom, knowing I'm gonna switch out to Skarmory. Hera was most likely just a bluff there, so that was a pretty good move on his part. I'm going to switch out back to Quagsire. Actually, this was not back to Quagsire because this is the only time I'm sure I do have a Quagsire. So I'm going to go for Earthquake. Pretty sure he's going to think that I'm going to switch out. So I'm just going to stay in an Earthquake away. Or maybe I'm going to overpredict his switch, fearing the Earthquake. But this turn, I'm going to outplay him and go for the rest, knowing he's going to Pursuit, predict me to switch out, knowing that Crunch is easily going to take me out, and I'm going to try to save this guy for later on. But because Pursuit is only half power after I stayed in, he failed to kill me as I rest off and regain all my lost HP. So that was a good move on my part. He made a couple of good moves, but at least I did make one of them. So stuff are looking a little bit brighter than they were before. I'm gonna switch out to Houndoom. He's gonna switch out to Machamp, and oh my god, this was the worst switch I could have possibly done. But I'm gonna switch out to Miltank. That's really not a Miltank, but again, the name totally confused me. I never really checked the sprites. So I just checked the names, and again I was thinking I have a heal builder up my sleeves. So my 2 rest Pokemon aren't really looking that well, as I'm gonna go for the sleep powder, but he's gonna make a wise decision by switching out his already status Porygon. I'm gonna need to go back to Maestro, thinking that this Porygon is a mixer with Curse and 1 physical attack. The reasoning because he did switch into Skarmory, which was sorta confusing after seeing Curse. Plus Porygon does have a diversity to behold, and sometimes it can work for him extremely well. Porygon is actually a pretty bulky Pokemon in second generation, but then again Porygon is actually an even more bulky Pokemon in the 5th. Still, gotta switch out to Skarmory. I'm trying to sort of poison stall, but then I come to realize, it's been a while when I last played second generation, and I've come to realize that poison is really not gonna be working like in the 4th or the 5th or the 3rd. It's gonna be doing that, that heavy poison, but it's not gonna be racking up. So that's gonna be a problem because he's gonna recover in this turn. And again, because I forgot the whole poison mechanic in this game, I'm gonna be in a bit of a pickle because now my Maestro is most likely gonna be taken down. He's just trying to return. I was thinking, why didn't you switch out to Preserve? But he was like, Maestro, my Machamp is actually a problem, and he doesn't really look at Porygon doing much in this game, so he just decided to stay in. But now I'm gonna switch out to Quagsire. I know he's gonna Curse. I'm gonna try to bank on a crit. I know it's a little bit early, but I don't want anything on my team taking his moves. He is a pretty problematic Pokemon at the moment. I know with a Curse, he's probably not gonna two-shot me, with the lefty support, and he doesn't it doesn't really look like a two-shot, so I can easily decide to go for anything really. Well, actually I decide to wake up and go for the curse. Just, you know, attacking him straight off wouldn't have really been that wise of a decision. So right now I'm looking pretty good. He's got 2 curses if I'm not mistaken, or is it only one? I believe he's got only one. He's got to go for another curse. Now he is slower than me, and I have 2 chances of getting a crit on him, and poison may help me out. But with the 2 curses up, earthquake, it isn't really looking like a 4-hit in this case, even with poison. That is pretty crazy, and he's just gonna attack me, playing it offensive. I'm gonna go for earthquake again. I'm just trying to take him out, and he's gonna decide to take me out as well. I'm gonna go to Elon, just gonna go for the flamethrower. Checking out his team, nothing really wants to take it. I guess, you know, there are a couple of Pokemon that wants to take it, but I do take him out. Surprisingly, I believe that was Absolute Max, because Porygon again is a very, very bulky Pokemon, especially defensive and defensively wise. So I'm gonna switch out to Skarmory, as he is gonna play it safe, as I'm gonna go for Toxic on the switch. I know that how Toxic works in this game is really not that beneficial, but every little damage on the turns, negating their leftovers, can be beneficial, especially in second duration. So I'm going to switch out to Hellhound. He's going to predict that nicely there, going for the Thunder Wave, but he forgot my Hellhound does run the berry that's going to recover me from any sort of status. So right now looking good, but not looking that great, because as you can probably tell, I need to preserve my Hellhound. But I'm kind of fearing him staying in, because he can easily take my special Crunch. Dark moves are special in this generation, as well as Dragon moves. Yeah, Ghost moves are actually physical. It's kind of weird, you know, to look at Ghost moves being physical, yet I guess it's kind of weird. Still, I'm gonna go to Executor, knowing for a fact that I can take most likely everything he's got outside of a Hidden Power Bug or Hidden Power Ghost that Machamp just can run. But you know, Hidden Power Ghost may not even two-shot me because of Executor's defensive bulk. He's gonna go for Fire Blast this turn. He's gonna get the burn. I'm gonna go for Sleep Powder. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss. That was a really lucky turn on his part. Think about it. Sleep Powder misses, Fire Blast hits, and burns me. Well, I guess hits isn't really that lucky, but burning is actually pretty lucky. I'm gonna go for the Explosion just in case he switches out to Houndoom. You know, immunity to Psychic and resisted to my Hidden Power Grass. You know, just doing some damage if he does decide to stay in. And surprisingly, he actually stayed in. I could have gone for a Psychic there, but he still decided to stay in. I'm gonna go for a Drill Peck this turn. Maybe he's gonna predict me Toxic again, and I do around half damage. You know, Poison does help me out a little bit, maybe making a 2-shot in this case. I'm gonna try to Sleep Talk, get some damage in there. He's gonna switch out to his Machamp, and I'm gonna get the Hidden Power Ground in this case. I know Hidden Power Ground sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it's not, because I've been having problems against a Jolteon, and Raikou totally walls it if it does run Hidden Power Ground. The other Hidden Powers just aren't doing that much damage, and Jolteon's defense just isn't on par with her special defense, and it's been proven to be quite useful at times, especially against the other Raikous that I tend to face. Switching out to Skarmory, he's gonna go for the Cross Chop. He didn't Fire Blast. I guess he was pretty me to switch out. I do go for the Drill Peck, but now, yeah, he's in a range where another Drill Peck can easily take him out. And he did predict me to switch out to Skarmory back there by going for a Fire Blast. Good move on his part. Gonna go for the Drill Peck again. Not too sure, maybe he was predicting me to switch out, or, well, actually not switch out, doing something else. Unfortunately, Drill Peck is gonna be enough to take down his Alakazam. And now stuff are looking a little bit brighter for my team. And my confidence of winning this match has gotten a little bit of a boost. So right now I'm gonna switch out to Raikou. I'm starting to realize what I need to have in order to have a chance. He's got a Heracross, he's got a Zapdos, and he's got a low HP Machamp. So whatever the case, I need to preserve my Houndoom for later on. So I switch out to Raikou. I'm gonna go for a Sleep Talk. I luckily get the T-Bolt off, and I get the Paralyzation, which kind of makes up for that Fire Blast burn, which would have easily taken down the Machamp there. But you know, it doesn't really make up. I mean, hacks is part of the game. You just gotta handle it. You know, one way or the other. One of these days, hacks is gonna play into your favor, and never justify it by saying that you got hacks millions of times before, because that is all in the past. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm gonna switch out to Skarmory. yeah, by switching out to Skarmory, he's gonna go for rest. Now I can easily force him to switch out, being that I can take Mega Horn, Rock Slide, Earthquake, anything he's got really. Heracross cannot really threaten me. I'm gonna go for the Drill Peck. I do take him out, and I guess he just have it as a Death Fodder there. I'm gonna switch out to Hellhound this turn. I'm gonna go for the this turn. I believe I'm gonna go for the Fire move, predicting him to switch out to his Zapdos, being that he does realize I have hidden power fighting. Like I mentioned before, I battled this guy so many times. He's gonna counter this turn, thinking that I will hidden power fighting, but Houndoom doesn't really have the bulk to take it when you think about it. I believe that hidden power fighting would have been enough to take him out at that amount of HP, even without the fire damage in advance. So a little bit of a risky move there, but maybe he would have survived with 1 HP, who knows, and still retaliate with a counter. Unfortunately, didn't come down to that. I'm gonna go for the Flamethrower, he's gonna go for Sleep Dog, get a lucky Earthquake here. I guess there is a big chance of taking me out. He can either get Earthquake or make a Horn, and rest is just gonna regain all that lost HP from Flamethrower. So outside of the crit with Fire move, he would probably stand on top against my Houndoom. So right now I'm just gonna go for the T-Bolt. I luckily actually take him out, and here is where the match gets extremely stally. There's lots of same moves going around. He's trying to rely on Thunder, and you're not even gonna believe how many times he's gonna hit his Thunder. You can actually count if you want to. It was funny because I believe he misses a couple of times before when it was actually crucial. I'm just gonna go here because this match, I don't feel like commentating this because there's lots of same moves happening and fast forwarding. So I'm just gonna put some music in the background. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest. But that's gonna be it from me, and until next time, take care, peace.